part of education overall is self-regulation. And teaching children how to self-regulate is part of school. 99% of our schools have some type of cell phone policy. Most of them, if they adopted a formal policy, they took board policy 4318, which has been around a long time. I'm going to date myself. When we first adopted board policy 4318, it was to prevent laser use in schools. That is now policy 4318, and it's around the communication device and mobile devices in school. So some schools in our state have taken that policy, Carteret County, Transylvania County, and have adopted that to include when is the appropriate use of a cell phone at school. And most of our LEAs have that policy in place. If they haven't adopted a formal board policy, there is behavior policy in place in about 100% of our schools. When can you have a cell phone available? Bell to bell, in most all schools, cell phones are not available. They must have them put away. I was talking to the tech director in Mooresville Graded District, Scott Smith, and he said, yes, you can share this. They have a little guide of if you get a warning the first time you pull your cell phone out and you're not, is it a time where you can't use it? The second time, it's a meeting with your parent. The third time, it is ISS. And then it escalates from there if it continues. That is not uncommon. Our schools have those in place. We also, and this is one of the most novel things, and I really love this, Union County schools. They are a mix, like many of our schools, that are partly rural, partly suburban. And in a school, most of the time, you can't get any internet connection anyway, right? It's like you walking into a mall. You can lose internet connection when you're in a building. And I thought their approach was really good. Now let me frame it with this. In Union County schools, they do have technology devices that are available to children, iPads or Chromebooks, depending on the grade, that can be used for co-intelligence, right? And I think of my technology as part of my co-intelligence. But what they felt like, and that there was an extreme problem with safety and security. So they created a network called UCPS, Union County Public Schools, that allows cell phones to operate with voice and text only for students, but it can't operate as a smartphone. So they can't stream media, they can't go to a browser, but they can text and they can get a phone call. And he said their teachers really advocated for that because they've said, you know, inside of a school, there's really no communication. If a communication system goes down, they felt that was important. Another way that they are using that is they have many students now, if you know, if you're diabetic, you wear a Dexcom device, and they have seen a surge with elementary children, and parents want to check on their second grader's blood level. Well, that Dexcom device will text a parent if a student's blood sugar is getting low. And they said it solved those problems. They were trying to isolate that out. And as we now treat diabetes more with Dexcom devices, and particularly in elementary children, it was a big a win for them. And so I felt like that was a really, and they also have a policy that cell phones have to be put away in a classroom, bell to bell. Children can have it out at lunch if they're in high school only. And at other places they cannot, but they can text and they can communicate. And they said it was their teachers like that. Their teachers needed that as well. And their parents feel comfortable with that. So I felt that was one of the more novel approaches that we have. And then one more thing. How many of you ever had to use the app Remind, right? Your teachers, remember the Remind app, and there's so many of those. And we used to advocate for that. So we were pushing that from an educational stance. And then, of course, we want parents to be able to see how students are achieving in schools. I recently pulled a study out of our current student information system to find out how do parents access students' achievement? How do they look at their grades if they're absent, if they showed up on time? 98% of parents go through the mobile app.